want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Bunbury here again in Las Vegas at CinemaCon for JoBlo. And I just walked out of the last CinemaCon panel and it was a very good one, the Lionsgate panel. So I got a look at trailers for Expendables 4, John Wick Chapter 4, and even a tiny bit of footage for Borderlands, but not too much to go on with the latter. So let's go through it. So Expendables 4. As was kind of hinted at, it seems like this installment kind of centers around Jason Statham's character, Lee Christmas. And one thing that's kind of interesting is that Curtis 50 Cent Jackson gets second billing. So I'm assuming they're kind of building him up as one of the new stars of the franchise. It looks like they're really trying to keep the franchise going by going a bit younger. Megan Fox also seems like she's joining. 50 Cent's kind of an interesting choice to join the franchise, but you know, he did a video introduction for it and seemed very hip on the role. And the trailer did promise that it would be the biggest Expendables ever. In fact, that everything was just a lead up to what's coming. I don't know how much Stallone is going to be in it, though, to be honest. He has an Sylvester Stallone billing, which is kind of surprising. But, you know, he has announced that he was done with the franchise after this. So maybe, you know, maybe that's the end of the road for Barney Ross. I hope not, though. Dolph Lundgren's back. Randy Couture's back. Terry Crews is not back, I don't think. So, again, it should be interesting to see. The title treatment, by the way, is Expendables with the A replaced with a 4. I guess they couldn't help themselves. So, next up was John Wick Chapter 4. We got a full trailer for John Wick Chapter 4. Keanu Reeves and Chad Stahelski were actually there to promote the movie and present the trailer. And in this one, basically, John Wick is kind of retraining himself after almost dying in the third movie, with Lawrence Fishburne's character sheltering him. So eventually, he reemerges and he goes up against the new villain played by Bill Skarsgård in Paris. But it looks like it takes place all over the world. One of the really cool things about it was that we got a look at some of the action. There's a really cool fight scene inside of a nightclub with the sprinklers going, with lots of water. I mean, that's a kind of a John Wick trademark. You know, Keanu Reeves soaked in water with the hair coming down and fighting. And you'd see the water moving around. It's really cool. But my favorite shot probably was the introduction of Donnie Yen's character, who seems to be a John Wick style assassin. He's wearing the really sharp suit and he's got sunglasses on, and he was wielding 2 swords. He was sword fighting. It looks like the weaponry in the movie is pretty elaborate. So there's swords, there's bow and arrows, there's everything. But then it ends with the coolest reveal of all. John Wick pulls out a pair of nunchucks and starts doing a routine with them and fights guys with them, like Bruce Lee style, which was really cool, because we've never seen Keanu Reeves use nunchucks before. We've seen him use every other weapon. So that's pretty neat. You know, I really hope that John Wick does push the envelope that way in terms of like the weaponry being used. It's fun to see John Wick shoot people, right? But it's also fun to see Keanu Reeves doing hardcore martial arts. And yeah, if anybody was kind of upset that he didn't get a ton of action in the last Matrix movie, it looks like he was saving it up for this one, because it looks like it's action-packed. We did get a tiny bit of footage from the Borderlands movie. They didn't have a full trailer for us. We just got quick glimpses of the characters in action, including Cate Blanchett in her first serious action role as Lilith. She's got the bright red hair. She's doing a lot of fighting, flipping around. It looks like she's having a ball. It's Eli Roth is directing it. It does look like it has a highly comedic, kind of lighthearted vibe, though. I don't know too much about the games, but it seems like they're probably going for a PG-13 or something like that with Jack Black's character, you know, the comic relief. Although it looks like Kevin Hart, who co-stars in the movie, is actually playing it straight as kind of an action star in this, which is interesting. Because, you know, he's actually like really cut, so it's kind of cool to see that. I have no idea what it's going to be like, though. We just got quick glimpses, but the cinematography looks really cool. We also got a look at a Scissor Reel that had a couple of really interesting announcements. So Ballerina is confirmed. Ana de Armas is going to star in it, which is great for anybody who saw No Time to Die. She kicked ass in that movie, and it's definitely going to fit into the John Wick universe. They also confirmed that there's a Dirty Dancing sequel coming with Jennifer Grey reprising her role. And then also they teased up the new Hunger Games prequel, which actually got a release date, November 17th, 2023, so it's coming soon. And the full title is The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So if you're a Hunger Games fan, keep an eye out for that one. It looks like it's definitely an important franchise for the studio, so I'm not surprised that it's coming back. We also got a look at a couple of other movies that are coming out. One of them is a movie starring Sebastian Maniscalco, who actually hosted the presentation called About My Father, where he actually plays himself. Robert De Niro plays his father, and it's kind of a meet the parents type comedy where he introduces his dad, played by Robert De Niro, who's really cheap, to his fiancée, played by Leslie Bibbs, upper class, rich family. There's a funny part though where Maniscalco says to him, "You look like the guy that killed John Wick's dog," and then De Niro's like, "Hey, who's that? John Wick? I've never heard of him." It's kind of a nice little nod at the rest of Lionsgate's lineup. We saw a quick glimpse of footage from a horror movie called The Devil's Light, which is about a nun who becomes an exorcist who has to fight a demon that previously possessed her mom. If you're a genre fan, probably it's up your alley. It looks like a January release to me. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, by the way. And then we also got a look at Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. And the way that Sebastian Maniscalco said the title kind of cracked me up. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. So it's directed by Kelly Fremon Craig, who directed a really good movie a couple years ago called The Edge of 17, but has been MIA since then. So this is an adaptation, of course, of the Judy Blume coming-of-age novel. One thing the trailer did that was interesting is it showed how there's been so many references to Judy Blume and to that story in particular in pop culture. We see Deadpool saying, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." And you see footage of Sawyer on Lost reading the book, and The Simpsons mentioning Judy Blume. And it does look like quite a good movie. It's set in the 70s. It's a coming-of-age story. Rachel McAdams stars as Margaret's mother. Kathy Bates is in it. And it's a Gracie Films production, meaning it's produced by James L. Brooks. And he doesn't produce a lot of movies these days, but he's produced both of Fremon Craig's movies because she's a pretty talented director. And this looks like something that'll break out beyond kind of the tween genre that people might be associating it with. It looks like it's much more universal than that. And then the other franchise that Lionsgate seems very hot on is Wonder. So they've got a Wonder spin-off coming out called White Bird, A Wonder Story. Now, I take a little bit of issue with this. It looks like White Bird is very loosely related to Wonder, and in fact, it feels like the connections were just kind of shoehorned in order to call this Wonder. But anyway, so in the trailer that we saw, the kid who was the bully of Augie in the last movie has been thrown out of his school and sent to another school, and his grandma is pretty pissed. His grandmother's played by Helen Mirren, and she decides to tell him a story. And the movie, I believe, is just her telling him the story, kind of Princess Bride style. So again, why is it related to Wonder? You could have just done the whole story as a movie. That said, the story's quite interesting. So in it, Helen Mirren's character is a Jew, I presume in either Germany or Poland or something like that, during the Holocaust. And basically, as the Nazis are coming in, she's about to be taken to a concentration camp, but she's rescued by one of her classmates who was partially crippled, which again, the Nazis persecuted anybody who wasn't, genetically perfect, right? So this guy basically shelters her, and the two of them start to fall in love, and they have a relationship. It looks like quite actually a nice little movie. Again, though, I don't know why it's related to Wonder. It looks like just a really solid Holocaust drama, and it's directed by Mark Forster, who's directed some pretty interesting movies that way. So again, I don't see how it's necessarily related to Wonder, but it looks like a pretty good movie on its own. So, Lionsgate had a lot of interesting stuff to show us. I definitely enjoyed the presentation. I mean, John Wick 4 looks amazing. I want the Expendables 4 to be good. I'm not 100% sold on it. I have to see more footage from it. The teaser that we saw was really just a tease. But hey, John Wick Chapter 4 looks totally badass, and I think everybody's going to be happy once they finally get that trailer out. Even though it's quite a long way away. It's more than a year away. Anyway, that's it for CinemaCon this year. I had a blast going to all the different events and seeing all the screenings and reporting back on the footage that I saw, and hopefully you'll all get to see it pretty soon. Until next time.